One of these ladies that we wanted to tell you about today, because her story, she told us that I've never told this story, but I want to tell it to you. She was married when she was young. She had grown up in a nominal Christian home.
Interesting.
But they were very, very poor. And so her father married her to a Hindu man. And this Hindu man was very strong Hindu and forced her to go with him to the temple. But she said, when I went to the temple, I would pray to Jesus. Because she knew that that was what she needed to do. Anyway, he ended up moving her and their one son then down into Tamil Nadu, someplace. They were from another state, and I'm not sure which state they were from. But coming there to Tamil Nadu, she didn't know the language at all. And soon after they moved, their son died.
Oh.
And then 6 months later, her husband died.
So she doesn't speak the language.
She doesn't speak the language, and she feels so alone.
This sounds like kind of the story of Ruth.
It does. And so she, in her despair, was just thinking, Lord, I don't know what to do. Because, of course, she has to survive physically as well.
Sure.
And about that time, some gospel volunteers came along knocking on doors.
Wow, and they met her.
And they met her, and they found a translator for her and invited her to come to church with them. And she was so excited, so glad to have some relationships that could be positive in her life after all this loss in her life. And so she became converted all over again and excited about the Lord. And she wanted to share the Lord like these people that had knocked on her door to share. But she said, I don't speak the language. Lord, I want to share, but I need your help. And so she prayed, she fasted about it, and she said, suddenly I began understanding Tamil.
Wow.
The Lord had given me the gift of hearing, and I could understand. And then I found myself, I was just speaking back. So I not only could understand it, but I could speak it. Wow. And she said, and soon after that, I was able to read and write it as well.
What a neat thing.
So she is so excited. So now for the past 7 or 8 years, she has been a gospel outreach volunteer with others there, just loving to share the love of the Lord.
And God does that, doesn't he? And here she is.
This is her
Here she is, and look at the smile on her face.
Yes.
Well, see, God gives the speaking of tongues in many different forms. See?
Yes.
Oh, isn't that neat? And listening.
Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
And she has led people into accepting Jesus Christ. This particular lady is getting baptized, and this is what our gospel outreach volunteers do. They go out every day looking for people who are hungry and thirsty for something better, and they are introduced to Christ. Yeah.
Well, and to have the story, though, of her testimony of moving there and what God did, and then, yes, meeting people in the marketplace and, no matter where they are. So you've shared some fantastic stories with us, and we will remember these. What are some things that our viewers who are listening, how can they get involved?
Well, I would say get involved. This is a picture of the Apostle Thomas. He got involved right after Jesus died. His territory was India, and there's several pretty credible books written about how Thomas went to India. Mm-hmm. So just like Thomas went to India because of his great love for Jesus, we can get involved. Maybe we can't all go to India or Pakistan, but we can support these workers. Yes. And we invite you today to support these workers. We need to add another 2,000 or 3,000 workers.
More. Have the number go up. Let's have the number go up. Well, Rosa and Dave, thank you so much for being here with us, and blessings on you as you minister and share with the regional or with the gospel outreach workers.